gathered today.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is campaigning in Derry, New Hampshire. He talked about former President Trump's indictment a short time ago. Let's listen.
The United States faces an unprecedented indictment by a Justice Department run by the current President of the United States and a political rival. You know, after years of politicization at the Department of Justice that I lived through when I was your vice president, we watched the Department of Justice announce there would be no charges against Hillary Clinton, despite 33,000 emails that were destroyed, including classified documents in that campaign in 2016. And then 2.5 years, millions of documents, an inquiry in the so-called Russia hoax. The Durham investigation is now found with an independent review should never even have begun. We've learned through that process of FBI agents that were politically motivated, working to advance the Russian hoax every single day. And of course, we stand here today recalling the 2020 campaign and the collusion between big tech, big media, and even some at the FBI who actually had Hunter Biden's laptop, but still allowed the media in this country to suppress the truth in the days before the campaign. And then the slow walk of justice when it comes to President Biden and his family. As I said yesterday in Iowa, the news that broke last night, I had hoped it wouldn't come to this. I had hoped the Department of Justice would see its way clear to resolve these issues with the former president without moving forward with charges. And I'm deeply troubled to see this indictment move forward, believing that it will only further divide our nation at a time that American families are facing real hardship at home and real peril abroad. And it also troubles me, having represented America on the world stage, the message this sends to the wider world. We're the beacon of democracy, but we're also an emblem of justice in the world. So as much of the media begins its latest rush to judgment, I believe the leaders of this country and our party and those of us who aspire to lead would do well to remember first principles. First, let me be clear. No one is above the law. Secondly, it is important to note, from my years as your vice president and also my years serving on the International Relations Committee in the Congress of the United States, the handling of classified materials of the United States is a serious matter. That's why, after repeated discovery of classified materials in the personal residence of President Biden, dating all the way back to his days as vice president, I initiated a review of my own records at our Indiana residence. And we found a number of classified documents had been stored among my personal papers. We alerted the Department of Justice immediately. I took full responsibility. And I was pleased the Department of Justice concluded it was an innocent mistake, but it was a mistake. We must secure our nation's secrets. Thirdly, it's important for all of us to remember that no one knows the facts in this case. And as Americans, it's essential to remember that you are innocent until proven guilty. While much of the speculation rages on the airwaves of America, the former president, like every American, is entitled to the presumption of innocence. And thirdly, and finally, The American people have a right to know what's in that indictment, and they have a right to know today. The unprecedented indictment of a former president of the United States. It's not just a sad day, but it's a troubling day to millions of Americans. And it invites a divisiveness in this country that can only be answered with facts. This morning I called on the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to unseal the indictment and stand before the press and the American people and explain the reasons for this unprecedented indictment of a former president of the United States. Attorney General Merrick Garland, you need to stop hiding behind the special counsel. You need to stand up and explain to us why this was necessary before the sun sets today. The American people deserve to know the basis of this unprecedented action, and they deserve to know today. Once the facts and the laws are explained and revealed in full to the American people, we can all make our own judgment. So as I said, this is a sad day for America. But we must be willing to stand on the rule of law. So I want to encourage the American people here in New Hampshire and across this country in two ways. First, know that we will know the facts soon. So be patient. Secondly, I encourage you to pray. In these troubled times in the life of our nation, pray for our former president and his family. Pray for all of those in authority. And pray for all the people of this country, that in these divided times, by God's grace, we'll heal our land. And as your president, I'll make you a promise. I will always uphold the rule of law. And I will clean house at the highest level of the Department of Justice and restore the confidence of the American people in equal treatment under the law. So help me God. So thank you for that. You know, I'm incredibly proud of the record of the Trump-Pence administration. The truth is,
we are going to keep an eye on the former vice president's speech for you, and we'll bring you updates on the Trump case throughout the day.